Alright, we're working on the 1989 Chevrolet S10 Tahoe. And if you've been watching the other videos, you know that I finally got the tune-up correct on this, but I had left some of the vacuum lines unplugged to eliminate any vacuum leaks. But today I decided to hook things back up. I hooked up this one and your EGR valve going back to the intake manifold. Okay, so now that should give me back cruise control. And also now my controls will work correctly for for my heater. When you put it on heat, it'll go down, come out there. When you put it on vent, it'll come out the vents. When you put it on defrost, it'll come out the top. Because when I unplugged it, it was shooting out the top and at the bottom here, no matter where you put it. So that's just because that's where it was when I unplugged everything. And I fumbled along with it like that for quite a while. But really the number one thing was the tune-up, meaning setting the ignition correctly. In order to set the ignition correctly on this truck, you got to go up underneath the, we're not going to open that up right now, but you go behind there and there's a wire to unplug right behind, up behind here. I'm on the passenger side there. Then you do use a timing light on this one. Mark's kind of hard to see, but it's getting a flashlight on it and a camera is kind of tough. I'm having difficulty finding it. Bingo, that's right in that area right there. I don't know if you can see that. But right down in that area is where you would find your, I can see the timing probe right there. Anyway, really the big thing of it was the fact that you set the timing to 0 with that wire disconnected. You do not mess with your idle. That's preset at the factory. You just leave that alone, and you do it in park. So once I did that, that was really the number one most important thing I had been missing after I put the engine in. I think I timed it to like 8 degrees, but I had that wire connected, so it was just never quite right. And the specs, the place you find your specs on that, and that was the big problem I had in the past, were right here on this. See, but that's a new one, and it don't come with the label. But I had kept the label from the old one, because unfortunately I contacted a deer. That's why I had to do, new hood, new left front fender, straighten out the thing for the radiator. It was a front clip-off restoration. And after doing all that, I forgot where that radiator deal was. But finally I found a book that gave me the clue that that's where you have to look, and I was able to find where I had it stored. But now with everything all hooked up again, we should have a nice cruising truck with cruise control and working heater controls, and for your AC and all that kind of stuff, and defrost. And when you have AC, it'll come through the vents instead of up through the defrost and out through the heater. So really, this is the finishing touch on a tune-up that I don't know how long ago it started, but I got interested and I had the time to do it correctly. And I guess the main spark was the fact that I did replace the transmission with a brand new one, and then I started getting into trying to get the truck running really good, because when I had the previous transmissions, which I built, but they never did turn out quite right, and after trying it several times, because I've rebuilt transmissions and I've turned out over a dozen good ones, I finally decided it had to be the case was the problem. The transmission case wasn't quite right, so it wouldn't work. So that's why I just went ahead and bought a transmission and put that in, and then that did in fact solve the problem. So I haven't done a test drive yet, but I'm pretty sure that all the stuff I hooked up is now going to work because it was working before I disconnected it. So this is John Rudy with Rudy Racing signing off.